McCollum. And then after that, we'll hear from Mr. Brian Mast. We'll talk, the veterans, for God's sakes. Was it worth it? PTSD they go through. And now this. I want to thank Brian Mast, chairing the Oversight Committee. Phenomenal job. And I want to thank Mike Waltz, another Afghan veteran. Thank you. So with that, we'll hear from the families. Jim.
Thank you all for coming today. You got to forgive me. I'm new at this. I'm not nearly as good at this as him, so I'm going to have to read my notes. I'm here with my daughters, Royce, Cheyenne, my grandson, Cameron. I'd like to take a few minutes and definitely thank Chairman McCall, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Leslie Shedd, all those that worked on this committee to bring this report forward. I'd also like to acknowledge and appreciate Marlon Bateman for he's helped us navigate this process. We're all new at this. We don't know what we're doing. We've been thrust into a position that none of us wanted to be in, and Marlon has been a rock for us to help us get through this process. This report is really important to me and my daughters for the following reasons. 3 years ago tomorrow, September 10th, was the last trip my son Rylee took home to Wyoming. 3 days later, his wife, who was extremely pregnant at the time that he came home, gave birth to Rylee's daughter, Levi Rylee Rose. We have a father who is never going to know his daughter, a daughter who will never know her father, a wife who lost her husband, and a family that is never going to be allowed to grow and be that family unit together. The ramifications of what happened on 8/26/2021, it's not just a ripple effect, it is a tidal wave of the travesty that came from that moment. September 11th was more than just the beginning of a 20-year war or a conflict in Afghanistan. August 26th of 2021, the culmination of that 20-year-long conflict ended in the loss of 13 lives. It didn't have to happen. It didn't have to be that way. It was preventable. This report lays out a fairly detailed chronological order of what took place, when it took place, and the ramifications of what those decisions were. Over the course of the last 3 years, the families of the 13 fallen have been given several incomplete reports. Key elements of any semblance of a thorough investigation were either left out, ignored, or buried. In April of 2024, we were given another report concerning the events that led up to the suicide blast at Abbey Gate that promised to be an absolute, complete, and accurate report. Yet a week later, CNN shared a video that we were told did not exist. Repeatedly, we were told there was nothing else. There's no more information. There are no more videos. There is no more drone footage. Yet somehow, after a CENTCOM report, we see on CNN something that we were told absolutely did not exist. You can imagine how hurt and disappointed my girls and I were to learn that we were misled once again, that Rylee's life, Rylee's service, and Rylee's death weren't worthy of following the facts and the evidence as they were laid out and as they were true to be. This report provided confirmation of things I knew, shed light on things I suspected, and pointedly detailed things that I was not aware of in regards to the missteps, the failed leadership, and the decisions that ultimately led to the collapse of Afghanistan, the Taliban takeover, and the preventable murder of our 13 heroes. Please don't forget our 45 wounded and the countless Afghanis that lost their lives in that blast. The truth no longer resides in Washington, D.C. or in current politics. The media no longer seeks the truth without political motivation. Character or conviction are absent, Rather than step forward and provide the truth, regardless of consequences, our military personnel, elected and appointed officials hide behind committee protections, department protections, and often downright refuse to be interviewed. America deserves better, and our 13 definitely deserve better. April 14th, 2021 was the date the Biden-Harris administration put into motion a series of decisions and events that ultimately led to the death of my son and his 12 brothers and sisters. I urge every American to read this report. It shouldn't be one-sided, pitted against the other, with heels dug in deep, unwilling to accept or acknowledge the findings. Every American should want, expect, and demand the truth as to what happened in Afghanistan at Abbey Gate. Please ask yourself, has the media and the current administration been honest with you about the events leading up to 8/26/2021? Again, thank you, Chairman McCall, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, for the work that you've done and continue to do. I hope you will continue to ask the hard questions and follow the facts wherever they lead. And with that, I'll move on. Next, you're going to hear from my newfound friend and one of my heroes, honestly, long before I ever met you, from Florida. Please welcome Brian Mast.